Imagine working 60 hours a week for just $1.78 an hour. This is the harsh reality for some employees in Apple's Chinese manufacturing facilities. The shocking conditions these workers face are far beyond what most of us can comprehend. They toil under grueling hours, earning wages that barely cover their basic needs, and all this under the banner of one of the world's largest tech giants. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Delve deeper into Apple's past scandals to understand the gravity of the situation. In 2010, a wave of suicides at Foxconn, Apple's largest supplier, rocked the world. The workforce, predominantly young migrants from rural China, were pushed to the brink. Long hours, low wages, and overwhelming pressure became the norm. The immense scale of the Foxconn facility, housing hundreds of thousands of workers, created an environment of alienation and despair. Apple, as Foxconn's largest client, could not ignore the crisis. The world watched, waiting for a response. The tech giant expressed deep concern over the tragic events and promised to enforce their supplier code of conduct more strictly. Yet, critics argued that Apple's high demand, tight deadlines, and pressure for low costs were part of the problem. Promises of audits, better working conditions, and increased wages were made. A pledge for reform echoed around the globe. But were these promises just empty words? Let's move forward to 2012. 2 years after the Foxconn suicides, Apple was again in the spotlight for the same reasons. In 2012, the tech titan was entangled in a scandal of broken promises. Apple was accused of neglecting to uphold commitments it had made to improve working conditions in its Chinese factories. The workers, toiling away for long hours in poor conditions, were once again pushed to the brink. The media was ablaze with stories of the grim reality these workers faced. This prompted a high-profile investigation into the allegations. Despite Apple's promises of transparency, the investigation uncovered a stark truth. Apple's promises were mere words. The aftermath was a media storm, with Apple's reputation taking a significant hit. Yet, the tech giant's sales remained largely unaffected. And so, the cycle continued. Promises were made and promises were broken. The world watched as Apple weathered the storm, seemingly unscathed. Despite the scandal, Apple continued to grow, but at what cost? Fast forward to today, and Apple's manufacturing conditions remain a contentious issue. Despite commitments to improve, recent allegations suggest that old habits die hard. Just last year, a major labor rights group accused Apple of failing to uphold its own standards, alleging that excessive overtime, insufficient training, and hazardous working conditions continue to plague their Chinese factories. In response, Apple has maintained that they are committed to ensuring all workers in their supply chain are treated with dignity and respect. They've promised increased scrutiny, more frequent audits, and swift action against any violations. But the question remains, are these promises enough? These controversies have cast a long shadow over the tech giant's reputation. While some consumers remain indifferent, others have been swayed to reconsider their allegiance. A recent survey found that 1 in 5 consumers would think twice before buying an Apple product due to concerns about the company's ethical practices. Yet, despite the controversy, Apple's sales continue to thrive. The allure of sleek designs and innovative technology seems to outweigh ethical concerns for many. But for how long? As awareness grows and consumers become more conscious of the impact of their buying decisions, the pressure on Apple to resolve these issues is likely to increase. So has Apple learned from its past, or are they destined to repeat it? Apple, a company renowned for innovation, is also infamous for its manufacturing scandals, a paradox that leaves many bewildered. On one hand, we have the tech giant that revolutionized the industry with its groundbreaking gadgets. On the other, we see a company associated with grim tales of poor working conditions in its Chinese manufacturing facilities. In this video, we delved into the shocking realities of Apple's manufacturing, from the Foxconn suicides that served as a wake-up call to the world, to the broken promises of the 2012 scandal. We also touched on the continued controversies that tarnish Apple's reputation to this day. This is the paradox of Apple, a beacon of innovation shadowed by a dark history. In the end, we must remember that the products we hold dear are the results of multiple hands, some of which may have suffered in the process. The truth is in the hands of time. But one thing is certain: the eyes of the world continue to watch Apple's every move.